Welcome back. Well, nightfall is coming sooner, and believe it or not, COVID has changed the routines for wild animals. It means really being cautious as a driver. You need to be ready to expect the unexpected this fall season. Ann Scallon is the publisher and editor of Before the Wheel, which is an online guide for drivers and parents of teen drivers. Good morning to you, Ann.
Good morning. It's so great to see you.
Good to see you too. You look very Halloween with the orange. I love it.
I know. I just like kind of ripped this off the rack and said I gotta go with something
Looks gorgeous. I
colorful.
love it. Well, okay, let's talk about this because I think people will be a little bit surprised to hear what I said earlier, and that's that the animals have changed with the change in COVID and lighting and all that. So let's first find out about texting. Why is it crucial right now not to even glance or touch your phone when you get a text?
Right. So minutes, seconds can make a huge difference. Recently, I have just noticed several accidents that or crashes that shouldn't have been crashes. And it's just somebody wants to glance at something on their phone. And it turns out that wasn't a wise decision because by the time they look up, things have changed.
Yeah, it's that fast, and I know a lot of people this year aren't going out of state for vacations. They're either driving up north or driving in wooded areas or even just some of the suburbs with more wooded on the sides of the road. So what do we need to be aware of when it comes to the wooded areas, and what should we be thinking about, when we're driving through them?
Sure. Well, Wisconsin is absolutely stunning at this time of the year. My husband and I were able to sneak up to Door County. So I do think there's a lot of people who, want to get out. And so the animals had a routine, first of all, from the warmer weather. They had food easily accessible. And then in the past, they've had campers and hikers and, people who leave things behind. That is not in existence anymore. So they are really looking and taking more risks to get their food because, not as many people are out because of COVID and they have to adapt to that situation.
And the animals are on the move, right? This is the time for deer.
Yeah, so this is the mating season for deer. So between now and the end of November is the highest risk. We move between 6 and 8 in the whole country every year as far as ranking as number of deer deaths due to crashes. So I'm just asking again to be attentive, and you can make your driving fun by just appreciating the colors and just saying I'm not going to be looking at any devices.
Absolutely. And make sure that it's daylight. I say this every year, Ann, but you saved my life. I truly believe that when I was driving between Minnesota and Wisconsin this time of year and I hit a deer. And the reason you saved my life is because you gave the information that I know you're about to give. So if we are driving, what are the steps that you can take to ensure a safe driving trip?
Right. So you want to be very alert. If a deer or animal comes in front of you, the most important thing to do is not to swerve. So lift your foot off the pedal. If you're really too close, you can tap your brakes, but don't slam on your brakes because slamming on your brakes could hit the animal and throw it onto your windshield. So you just want to maintain calm and do not leave the car either. So if you've hit an animal, just stay where you are. If you're in the middle of the road, move over to the side of the road and call 911 and do not get out of the car.
Those things right there, I feel saved my life. I truly do, because I remember thinking you had just been on the show. I think a week prior, I was taking the trip home around early October for my nephew's wedding. And I saw, and exactly that happened. A deer came out. I was on the freeway. We were probably going, 75, maybe closer to 80, to be honest, because we were going with traffic. It was dusk, so it was getting dark out. And I did exactly that. I held the steering wheel, took my foot off the gas, hovered on the brake. I did not hit the brakes. I kind of drove straight through it, which, sounds scary, but that did happen. I didn't swerve, which is, I think, your initial instinct, right? But the reason you don't do that is why? Because there may be other cars in other lanes, right?
Right. So often if you swerve to the right, and especially on the highway, a lot of times there's quite a ditch.
Yeah.
So your car may bounce several times, which creates very bad injuries. And of course, on the left, there's oncoming traffic. So they're very poor options.
Well, I think everybody needs to hear that every single year. So I'm so glad that we said that. And same thing, we didn't get out. We were able to kind of move the vehicle and call the police. We called 911, got the police there as well as my insurance. And I know that's important too, because some people, like you mentioned, want to get out and move the deer, right? Or check out their car, and don't do that. Allow the professionals to do that.
And one of the things I remembered is even though your car was totaled,
Yeah.
you didn't have a scratch on you.
I know, we were very
So,
lucky.
yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. My car was absolutely total, insurance totaled. Like it was done. It was totally done for. What should people know? Because the days are shorter. So when we think about daylight savings, is it true that at dusk that's when we need to be more concerned, or is daylight just as busy for animals?
Yeah, so it's kind of we're in a situation with COVID-19, kind of all bets are off because we always used to kind of be able to plan, between 3 and 5, there's going to be children on their bikes coming from school or walking from school buses. Well, now a lot of them are on virtual learning and they're going to take a break when they want. So we really need to be aware all times of the day, dusk,
Love it.
middle of the afternoon, morning, whenever they might see a good time to take their break from their virtual learning.
We're out of time. Thanks so much, Ann. We appreciate it. It's beforethewheel.com.